Welcome everyone on this very special Hilula de Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. I'm not going to say what the day is called because we didn't count Tzvias Omer yet, but it's the day of Hilula de Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, where he revealed many secrets, so much so that the sun stayed out so he could finish revealing the secrets before he passed away. That's one of the reasons why we light torches, so to signify that the sun kept on shining so he could finish revealing the secrets that he had to reveal. We are dedicated by Shalom Fogel, Nishmas Yaakov Zeb ben Yod Aryeh, Rivka Bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzivya Miriam Bas Gad, thank you, Yosef ben Sion ben Yaakov Zev, L'Refut Shalema for Moshe Aryeh ben Miriam, for a great shidduch for Chaya Tzivya Bas Shoshana Gittel, a great shidduch for Batya Bas Sarah. We are also dedicated by Mark Frankel, Ili Nishmas Ilana Chana, Bas Yosef Avram. We learn L'Refut Shalema for Yosef Shmuel ben Miriam, and for healthy mommy, for healthy baby, for all those that need, and especially for Ariel Simcha, Bas Elza Rivka, Shem be a healthy mommy, healthy baby, Be'ezus Hashem Yizbach Be'ito B'zmana. We are holding 3 lines from the bottom of Daf Gimel Amud Beis. My wife asked me if I'm going to go see a bonfire, so I told her we're going to light our own fire tonight. We light the fire of Torah. That's the greatest fire. Halo kol devarai ke'esh nom Hashem. Tana Rabbanan, 2 dots, 3 lines from the bottom of Daf Gimel Amud Beis. Tana Rabbanan, shchitas kusi muteres. We learned that the shchita of a kusi is mutter, but remember the kusi doesn't believe in l'fnei yivel lo yisitei michshel. He has no problem in giving you something that's not good. So bamed v'amamurim kishi yisrael oimed al gabav. When the Yid saw that everything he did was hunky dory, aval bo matzav sheshachet. But if you found that he slaughtered, so he won't eat it if it's no good. So he has to give his personal taste test. Chayte kazayis, you cut off a kazayis v'noisen loy. Achloi, if he eats it, now he has for himself rigorous standards, so if he eats it, motor lechem mishritasa, you could eat from mishchita. V'im lav, but if not, also lechem mishritasa. Ki yoytze bay, listen to this is very interesting. Matzah biyadai, if you find in his hand a dekurya shel tziporim. You know, there's a string of fish. This is a string of birds. You cut off the head of one of them, and you give it to him. If he eats it, you could eat from his shchita, and you could eat all the birds. Now the Gemara is going to ask right away, how do you know? Maybe only that bird he did good. Maybe the other ones he didn't. The Gemara is going to ask that. But here now the Gemara wants to know. Remember, we had a machlokes that Abaye said Yoitze v'nichnas is not enough. Going in and out is not enough. You have to be standing there. Rava said Yoitze v'nichnas is good. So the Gemara says Abaye daik mereisha. Abaye makes a deduction from the first part, and Rava daik meseifa, and Rava makes a deduction from the second part. Abaye daik mereisha time of the Yisrael oimed al gabav. It's only because the Yid is standing there all the time. But you see, if he's going in and out, it's not good enough. Rava daik meseifa. Rava is medaik from the seifa. Time of the bo matzah sheshachat. The only time it's no good, and you have to make him taste it, is only if you found that he slaughtered it already. But if you were going in and out, shapadami, that is good. Now, normally we would say, but now the Gemara says each one ulabaya kasha seifa from abaya it's shver, because it says it's only if you came and you found him, not if you were walking in and out. Amalach Abaya says if you're walking in and out, that's like coming and finding him. Yaitziv nichnas nami bo mitzah karilei, because he didn't know. Excuse me, it's not enough that you were going in and out, and therefore that's like you just found him doing it. Rava kasheresha, Rava says that he has to stand there. Amalach, Rava says no. Yaitziv nichnas. If he's in and out, that's nami kaimin al gabav dami. That's as if he was standing there the whole time. Now, kiyaytzebai, similarly, it persists. Matzah biyadei dekorya shel tziparin. If you found in his hand a string of birds, kaitei araishai, you cut off its head. You cut off the head of one of the birds, and you give him to eat it, so then you could eat all the birds. Says Gemara, Amai. Maybe only this one he shechted well. Says the Gemara, no, you're cleverer than that. What happened was you took the string of birds, put them under your jacket, and cut off one head, and he doesn't know which one it is. Says the Gemara, but the Dilma Simon begave. Maybe the one that he did properly, he made a simon, and he saw the simon. Says the Gemara, well, you were smarter than that too. It's talking about where you crushed it up, and then you gave it to him to eat. So if there was a simon there, he wouldn't be able to see it. Says the Gemara, but wait a second. Maybe the kusi doesn't hold of shchita by a bird entirely. It doesn't say shchita by a bird. It's a drasha. So maybe he doesn't hold of shchita by a bird entirely. How do you know that you could trust him at all? So the Gemara says, according to you, it doesn't say she'iyah, it doesn't say chalada, it doesn't say drasa in the Torah either. Ulatamech shehiyah, pausing, drasa, pressing down, chalada, boring the knife under the simon. Now we didn't learn these two. Hagrama, if the knife went out of the proper borders of where you're supposed to shecht, or the ikar, if you pulled the simon out instead of cutting it, miksivan. Do these disqualifications, are they written? Of course not. But elakavan da'arzikabahu, since we have a chazaka that they hold of these concerned, arzikabahu. Hachanami kavan da'arziku, since we have a chazaka that they do shchita on birds, arziku, and therefore we don't have to worry about that. Says the Gemara, v'arzik v'loy arzik b'loy ksiva. Whether we can rely on the fact that they practice it by something that's not written is actually a machlokes tanoim. Let's see how this works out. And here comes the question of matzah. Now, by matzah, there's two things. First of all, they have to be trusted that it's not chametz. And then for the first night of Pesach, it also has to be matzah shmura, that they watched it l'shem mitzvahs matzah. So the Gemara says, the Tanya matzahs kusi muteris. First of all, you don't have to worry that it's chametz. And second of all, v'adam yoytze b'yedei chavasa b'Pesach. And a person could fulfill his requirement on Pesach even the first night, because he could assume that it's matzah shmura. That's the opinion of the Tanakam. Rebbe Eliezer Oyser. Rebbe Eliezer says, no, not only can't you be yoytze on the first night, you can't eat it the whole Pesach. They're not bucky in the details like a Yisrael. Reb Shimon Gamliel Aimer called mitzvah she'erziku b'kusim, any mitzvah that the kusim are presumed to do, harba medaktikim b'yosim Yisrael. They're even more careful than a Yisrael. Find many times that ger is overzealous. and what they're careful with. Since they're new to it, they're overzealous. So now, the question is going to be what's actually the machlokes over here. Because the Tanna Kama and Reb Shimon Gamliel seem to be saying the same thing. It's interesting, we have a Reb Shimon on the daf that's not Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. Right? Stam Reb Shimon in Shas is Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. This is Reb Shimon Gamliel. Amamar. So now let's analyze it. So Amamar is like a gufa. Matzah's kusei muteris. The matzah of a kusi is permitted. In other words, you don't have to worry that this chametz. And v'adam yoytzi ba yidei chavasa b'Pesach. You could be yoytzi on the first day of Pesach that it's shmur matzah. So, and as the Gemara speaks out, pshita. Well, if you could eat it, then isn't it obvious you could be yoytzi? No. Wow, the same aloi b'kiyei b'shimur. They're not bucky to be shomer l'shem mitzvahs matzah. Kamash malon they are. Rabbi Eliezer Oyser, Rabbi Eliezer prohibits it. L'fisha ein bekim b'diktukei mitzvahs. They're not careful in the details of the mitzvahs. Kesavar, he holds lo b'kiyei b'shimur. Now here b'shimur does not mean l'shem mitzvahs matzah. Here lo b'kiyei b'shimur is they don't know how to keep it from becoming chametz. They don't know the difference between 18 minutes, not 18 minutes. Reb Shimon Gamliel says, Kol mitzvah she'echziku b'kusim. Any mitzvah that the kusim are careful with, they're more careful than Yisrael. So the Gemara says, so that means that you don't have to worry that it's chametz, and you could be yotzi on the first night. So that's the same thing as the Tanna Kama. Hainu Tanna Kama. Says the Gemara, Ike beinayu diksiva v'loy achzikuba. The difference between them is something that's written, but we don't know that they are careful with it. Tanna Kama Sava, the Tanna Kama says, Kevan de Ksiva, if it's something that's beferish in the Torah, Afal Gav Delei Arzikuba, even though it hasn't been established that they are careful, it's good. Reb Shimon Gamliel Sava, I Arzik in, if we know that they do it, yes, I Loi Arzik Loi. So the Gemara says, if Reb Shimon Gamliel is being restrictive, and he's saying that even if it's written, if we don't know, then we can't rely, then he shouldn't start his opinion with a kol. Kol mitzvah she'echzikuba kusim. If he's coming to be exclusive and not inclusive, it should say imer ziku mibayle, only if they're established. Ella ike benayu, the other way around. The like siva v'achzikuba, where it's not written, but it's established that they do it. Tanna Kama Savar Kavan the like siva, since it's not written, afal dav d'achzikuba, even if they're established, nami like we can't rely on it. Shimon Gamliel Leimer Kavan da'arzik achzik. If it's established that they do it, we can rely on it. And now we're going to go to the renegade Jew. To the guy that if he doesn't have kosher delight, if he doesn't have bun, if he doesn't have smash house, then he's going to go to McDonald's. So Gufa, Amar Rabbi Yisrael Mummer, a renegade Jew, Eichel Nevelas L'tei Avin, who eats nevela for his own appetite, but only if he doesn't have kosher. If he has kosher, he's not going to forsake kosher to eat cheaper McDonald's. So boydek sakin v'noisenlei. We check the knife and we can give it to him. Because if the knife has a pegima, he's not going to go look for another knife. You're allowed to eat from a shchita. Says the Gemara, my timer. Why? Because Kevin the Ika Atera V'Yisura, if he has a choice to eat Heter or Isur, Lo Shavak Atera, he's not going to forsake Heter V'Achal Yisura. So he's going to do a good shchita, because if he has a choice, he's going to go shchita. Says the Gemara, Ihachi Kiloi Badak Nami. Then even if you don't check it, he's going to make sure to check it. Says the Gemara, Mitrach Loi Tarach. No. To trouble himself to get another knife, that he's not going to do. That far he's not going to go. Amalei Rabbanan l'Rava. So Rabbanan said to Rava, Tanya de Messiah lach. We have a brayso that's a proof to you. Chemtzin shel oivrei aveira. The chametz of an oivrei aveira. Now here we know chametz shavel of a Pesach is awesome. But chametz after Pesach, even before this time to cook new chametz, achar Pesach muter miyad. You could eat from this avaryan immediately. Why? Because he'll switch it with the guy's chametz. A guy's chametz after Pesach is mutter. We're talking about a guy's chametz that we're not worried that there's forbidden oils in it. Right? They'll switch it with a guy's chametz. Mipnei she'ein machlifin. Now the Gemara says Savrua, Homani Rabbi Yehuda Hidam chametz achar Pesach d'oraisa. It's biblical. V'ketani mipnei she'ein machlifin, because he'll switch it. So we see Alma le'shavek hetera v'achal isura. He's not going to forsake heter and eat iser. Alma says the Gemara Mamai. Maybe the case of the chametz after Pesach is only d'Rabbanan, and it's only by a d'Rabbanan that we say this. Dilma Reb Shimoni Dama chametz achar Pesach d'Rabbanan. V'chi makelinan. And when are we lenient b'd'Rabbanan? B'doraisa loy makelina. Says the Gemara, no. You have to very carefully look at the language. V'tahavei nami Reb Shimon. It could even be Reb Shimon. Mi ketani shani aimer hechlifu. Does it say because I say he switched it? It says mipnei shemachlifin ketani. We're sure that he switches it, because we're sure that he won't eat iser if he could eat heter. And if we're sure by a d'Rabbanan, then for sure we should be sure by a d'Oraisa. And says the Gemara, Ketani devadei machlif. Umam d'Rabbanan lo yishavek hetera v'achal isura. If he doesn't forsake heter to eat iser, b'd'Oraisa lo kol shechein. So the Gemara says, well, let's prove it. Leima Messiah le hakol sheichtin. Everybody could shecht v'afilu kusi. Even a kusi, v'afilu oral, even a uncircumcised person, v'afilu Yisrael mumar, and even a renegade Jew. Hai oral heichidami. Ilay mamesu achiv machmas mila, that his brother died, and he's a hemophiliac. So then he's like a regular Jew, of course. Of course he could shecht. Hai Yisrael ma'alyu. He's not allowed to have mila. It's a sakana. Ela pshita mumala arelas, that he's a renegade. He's a mumma to Arla. Because savar, and it holds, mumma l'davar echad, a mumma for one thing, lo avi mumma l'kol ha'torah kula. Is not a mumma to the kol ha'torah kula. Ema seifa. Vasfilu Yisrael mumma, hai mumma heichidami. Mumma l'davar echad, that's already an oral. Hai no mumma l'arelas. Elalav mumala is a davar. He's a mummer to eat when it's not shechted, but only l'teyavan. And he won't be shavak hetera v'achal isura. And it's a raya u'kedarava. Maybe not like Rava. Maybe mumala is a davar if he's suspect to eat nevela loy. You can't trust this shkita. My timer came in the dushbay, since he's used to eating McDonald's, ketera dummy like. And it's like heter to him. That's the way it works. It's amazing how I've seen this in practice. People that always get angry don't even realize that they get angry. People that don't have kavanah in shul, you could ask them how davening was, and they'll say great. And they don't realize that they didn't even talk to Hashem once. Ella, when it says mummer, it doesn't mean mummer for shchita. Mummer for shchita, we wouldn't trust the shchita. Ella mummer lavedis kechav. He goes to church. Ukid Rav Anan, the Amar Rav Anan, Amar Shmuel, Yisrael mummer lavedis kechav, and mutter le'echol mishchita asay. We don't hold that a mumma l'avodah zarah is k'mumma l'kol ha'Torah kula. Gufa, Amar Rabbanan, Amar Shmuel, Yisrael mumma l'avodah k'chav. This yid goes to church. Mutar lecha mishchitasei. We don't say that a mumma l'avodah zarah is a mumma l'kol ha'Torah kula, because we have a proof. We see that Yehoshaphat ate from Achav Shchita. Yehoshaphat was a righteous king, and he ate from Achav Shchita. Achav was an Oved Avodah Zarah. Shekema Tzina b'Yehoshaphat Melech Yehuda, from the Davidic dynasty. Shenena Mesudas Achav. Achav was from the kings of the 10 tribes, the kings of the north, and he was Oved Avodah Zarah. Shenema v'Yizbach Loi Achav Tzayin Uvakar L'Raiv. He slaughtered for him sheep and cattle aplenty. Ula Amasher Imai, the nation that was with him. Vayisisayu, and he seduced Yehoshaphat Lalois El Ramois Gilad, to go up with him to Ramois Gilad. So the Gemara says, who says that Yehoshaphat ate? V'dilma Mizbech Zavach, maybe Achav slaughtered, Meichel Lo Yachal, but he didn't eat. Says the Gemara, it says he persuaded him. Says the Gemara, so what? Persuaded means with words. V'dilma b'dvarim. Says the Gemara, ein asasa b'dvarim. The road to a man's heart is through his stomach. You saw how many people came to the Siyum? If it was a fasting Siyum, we wouldn't have had so many people. The road to a man's stomach is, the road to a man's heart is through his stomach. And by the way, this is a very, very, very big lesson. By the way, I want to let everybody know, we have 9 people here tonight. One more person will have a minyan for Svira. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaro.
Why do you need a minyan for Svira?
First of all, I want to say Kaddish.
Why do you say Kaddish after Svira?
Huh?
Why do you say Kaddish after Svira?
Well, it is a part of davening. We don't say it because we say it after Aleinu. But if we're saying it without Aleinu, so we say Kaddish. I was thinking about whether you should say a Kaddish Rabbanan or a Kaddish Yasam.
What should you say?
I think it's a Kaddish Yasam. I'm not 100%. I know, but that might be because they say Svira after Aleinu, and it's the Kaddish from Aleinu. It might be. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we should say Kaddish Yasam when we say Svira. But we can't do anything. Also, there's an Indian, huh? You have to go to Marav? What time is Marav? 9:20. Is it Marav 9:30? Oh, you don't go to that. Here. They have dogs here? Such words I don't like to hear. Always have to ask yourself why the third base of Mikdash isn't here yet. Why? There's no question that there's no sinas chinam in existence. Everybody has a reason. Just weiß the reason isn't good. But everybody has a reason. Everybody has a reason. Never met somebody that has sinas chinam. I saw families torn apart. I had a family that it was 4 children. They were Yerush over $2 million. By the time the lawyers were finished, they had nothing. By the time the lawyers were finished, it's unbelievable. Anyway, Gufa. Amar Rav Anan Amar Shmuel Yisrael Mumel Avidis Gechav Mutter Lechem Mishchitasei. I said this. What am I doing? So Gemara says the Gemara Vidilma B'dvarim. Maybe it was with words. So the Gemara says Ein Asasa B'dvarim. There's no persuasion with words. V'lai V'ksiv Ki Yisischa Achicha. Right? It says Ki Yisischa Achicha Beni Mecha. If your brother, the son of your mother, seduces you, right? That's a mesis madiyah. Says the Gemara, that's talking about ba'achilu v'shtiyah. They invited you for barbecue. He gave you sushi. V'ksiv, it says that by Eov, that the Satan, that the Satan persuaded me, that's Hashem, to swallow him for nothing. Says the Gemara, yeah, because Hashem doesn't eat, so by him it's words. L'ma'ala shani. Says the Gemara, and by the way, I was going to say that that's why it's so important to teach our daughters, our granddaughters to cook. Because when a wife cooks food, it has a special koyach on her husband. And that's why the Rebbeinu Shalom embarrasses Yitzchak. Vayav Yitzchak es Esav kitzayed b'fiv. Because he hunted for him. So the Pachad Yitzchak is influenced because Yitzchak makes a good fricassee. Yeah. It makes an impression. And it generates ahava.
I don't claim to understand every single pasuk in Tanakh. But how are we supposed to understand this pasuk? Hashem says to the Yetzer Hara, you goaded me into giving him Yisurim for no reason.
According to your mind, it was for no reason. I had reasons. But not, you don't know them. I had reasons because throughout the generations, people are going to learn Sefer Iyov and they're going to learn important things. But that wasn't your reason. But anyway, and believe me, I don't know about Pshat in every pasuk in Navi either. Says Gemara, Vidilma mishtei ishtei meichel. Maybe he gave him to drink, but not to eat. So he didn't eat. Says the Gemara, well, but by drinking, then that means that we don't say that he was a mumla kol Torah kuli either. Ma'ishno shtia damrina mumla avedis chav lavi mumla kol Torah, and he could drink his wine. Achila nami mumla avedis chav lavi mumla kol Torah kuli. It would be a raya from the wine too. So there's no, don't compare wine to meat. Hachiashta shtia stam yainin. He didn't see him doing worship with the wine. So it's only stam yain, and at that time stam yain wasn't asi yet. The only way it's good is if the shechita is good. Maybe a mumalav is kavim is a moment to the old Torah. Says Gemara, well, it's not the way of a king to eat without drinking. He slaughtered and he seduced. How did he seduce him? So the Gemara says, but still, who said Yoshafat ate Achav Shchita? Vidilma Avadia, who was a big tzaddik, Vidilma Avadia Zavach, Avadia was an Eved Hashem, as the name Ovadia, Eved Ka. Avadia Zavach L'Roiv. Avadia, says the Gemara, Vidilma Avadia Zavach. Says the Gemara, L'Roiv Ksiv. It says that it was made for plenty. Avadia lo yavi sapik. Avadia couldn't check for so many people. Says, well, Vidilma Shivas Alofim Zavuach. There was 7,000 Yidden that also didn't worship Avodah Zarah. Dichsev Yisharti B'Yisrael Shivas Alofim, 7,000. Kol HaBerkayim, all the knees Asher Lo Karu L'Baal. Says the Gemara, no, they weren't there. Tamurei Avamitmerei Miyizevel. They were in hiding from the wrath and the murderous Izevel. Well, the Dilma Gavre, the Achav, have a malu. Maybe the workers of Achav were righteous. Says, if the ruler listens to sheker, to falsehood, you could assume kol mishos of Rishah, that his attendants are wicked. But still, the Dilma Gavre, the Shafet, Nami lo have a malu. Maybe all the people of your Shafet were not righteous. So, Zavuach Gavri the Achav, Ochel Gavri the Yeshafet. The slaughter of the workers of Achav were eaten by Yeshafet's irreligious people. Zavuach Avadia, that which Avadia slaughtered, that Yeshafet ate, Ochel Yeshafet. Says Gemara, no. Lo yisol kedaitach. Midemoishel makshiv al dvar sheker kol mishos risham. It's reversible. Not reversible, that's the wrong way. It works both ways. If
It's reciprocal.
No, that doesn't work. No, just like where the ruler who listens to falsehood, his attendants are wicked. Halidvar emes, a person who's righteous like a shafet, mishosef tzadikim. And Avadia couldn't check enough just for all of the workers of Yoshaf. Says the Gemara, V'dilma zavuach gavrei the achav, ochel achav v'gavrei. Maybe that which was slaughtered by the workers of Achav, Achav and his workers slaughtered. Zavuach gavrei the Yoshafet, that which was slaughtered by the people of Yoshafet, ochel Yoshafet v'gavrei. Yoshafet and his people ate. Maybe that's what happened. Says the Gemara, Yoshafet didn't distance himself from Achav, but rather trusted him. Rashi says, Yoshafet nizar v'nivdal mimeno mishum chshad klal. He didn't separate at all. Now, how do we know that? You'll have to wait in suspense for tomorrow to find out how we know that. Now, first of all, let me be a mensch and welcome in Mel and Dr. Guy and Saba and Irving and Dr. Black and Ruvain and Menachem, Nachman Chapler and Yitzhak Fuchs and Menachem Umansky. And I didn't announce that the shir is also sponsored with the hope all those that are waiting their shidduch should find it quickly and easily, and including Menachem, Yaakov Warman, Dr. Yudel, Michael, Eddie Chazan, Stephen Holtzman, Shimon Klein, Ilya Shutman, Barish Gesseman, who we're glad had surgery, and we wish him a complete and full recovery. Avram Rezepkowitz, Yitzi Muller, Gabriel Epstein, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, Abe Arbach, Gedalia Engel, Chaim Kramer, Ruvain Shannet, Danny Vogel, Iran, Michal Avram, Rebellia Yafi, and Shlomo Bernstein was here the whole time. Also, we do not yet have a sponsor at all for this week's Chumash. Sometimes people say, I don't believe it. I hear them say three, but I don't have a sponsor at all. 718-916-3100. The way I get them is because I announce it like, until it drives people crazy. 718-916-3100. rmmwsi@aol.com. I also did last night Chess the Royal Game Lessons for Life Part 4 is available. There are a few shiurim on Pirkei Avos that are recently available now as well. And now we're going to count Sfira.